Bec, we are back for another episode of Nap Trapped, everyone's favourite baby sleep podcast.
So happy to be back, although I just did get a flash in the screen of my tan hands. So
I saw it before.
looking super orange.
What are you getting ready for?
I have a Bogan bingo event tomorrow night. So
amazing.
So
this
I'm
is a
doing
much anticipated event.
It is a much
Love it.
anticipated event. Yeah,
I can't wait to see you in your flannels.
Oh, I've even got a leopard print singlet. Oh, it's a leopard print.
I will hear nothing against leopard print. Thank you very much.
I do love a leopard print scarf. I just think it really sets off black outfit with leopard print. I don't know.
I think maybe I'm a natural bogan and I'm just, there's my true colours. My true leopard print is showing.
The funny thing was, it was really easy to shop for my wardrobe for this bogan event. So I was, the only thing I had to get with this was this leopard print singlet. So everything else was in the wardrobe already, unfortunately.
Well, I think we're going to need to put photos in the newsletter for the exclusive subscriber content. Will be Bec in all of her bogan glory.
Yeah, and all my tan hands. It'll be funny. It'll be good.
Amazing. Let's dive in. This is Rapid Fire. We love a rapid fire episode. We know no one's got time to listen. Everyone's trapped and feeding and doing all the things. So this is 5 ways to get better sleep without sleep training. Coming in at number 1. Let's go bedtime routine. We've talked about this in a previous podcast episode, that there is actual evidence about the power of a consistent and age-appropriate bedtime routine, that if you do nothing else, that in and of itself has shown to help a baby sleep better. A consistent set of patterns and cues and timing of all the things, so that by the time your baby is going into their cot, you have set the stage for success.
Yep, babies are natural pattern seekers, so they love to know what's coming up next. It's going to help soothe them. They're going to feel calmer knowing that you're ticking all these steps, it's almost like, ticking all the boxes in the lead up to bed. So they'll be queued up for what's coming next, and it will help to calm them so they know exactly what, is at the other end of the final books.
Yeah, and it's something you can start shaping from day one if you so desire.
Yep.
All right. Well, that was very fast. Number 2, anchored feeds versus snacking. Now, I can tell you how effective this can be. A couple of months ago, did a 2-week package with a beautiful 5.5-month-old baby girl. And her issue, for the most part, was we had a few overnight wakings and long wakings, but naps. Naps were really inconsistent and short. And when I do a 2-week package, I communicate via WhatsApp. And so the night before our call, I was like, I'm going to be so organised. And I put in the schedule that we were going to start working to and that I would walk the mum through on the call the next day. I put it in at the top of the WhatsApp. I pinned it. Unbeknownst to me, this switched on and fabulous mother started working to the schedule that day.
Oh, wow.
And so when we got on the call, she was like, so I moved to the 4-hourly feeds and the baby has already been taking much better naps. I'm like, yes, because snacking had been an issue. There was lots of little tiny top-ups all day and all night. And on day 1 of moving to these big, full active feeds, which mum could feel the difference. This baby happened to be breastfed. Mum could feel the difference in the quality and the efficiency of these feeds. Yeah, duration and breast felt drained and whoa, that was so much bigger than what it has been. And already it assisted in a baby taking longer and better sleep. No sleep training involved at that point.
Yeah. I often say to my families who maybe we've had a consultation on the Tuesday or Wednesday, but they actually want to start the program, on the Friday night, leading into the weekend.
Love a Friday night.
Yeah, I'll always just say, look, well, as your homework, let's get on to, this particular feed schedule. There's no sleep training involved. We're just sort of, adjusting schedules and so forth. And I think the feeds will be, super beneficial. And it's so frequent that you get onto that call on a Friday for a bit of a pep talk, leading into the weekend, that they're like, wow, things have really turned a corner. it makes a huge difference. And very, very quickly, because our little ones are natural pattern seekers, these feeds, if you're on a 4-hourly, say, feed schedule for a 6-month-old or whatnot, you'll find that very quickly your little one will just sort of start doing these 4-hour stretches overnight, and they're just waking for their feeds. Like, that's how quick it can sort of come about. So yeah, there is beauty and power and in anchoring the feeds, and it's no sleep training involved.
Amazing. Next up, room environment. And this is something that families can listen to this and then go and do a little quick audit just on the spot right here, right now. In order to get great sleep, a baby's sleep environment needs to be set up for great sleep. So we're talking pitch black for day naps, for overnight, and particularly for early rising. We want 9 out of 10 dark. Keeping in mind, we work with babies that struggle with naps and that are often quite easily overstimulated, probably overtired, and so we want to set them up for a big win. They need to be warm enough. We need to be warm enough during the day
this is a really
and
big
overnight.
one. I am constantly reminded by how important this is when I'm looking at, like the information that keeps coming through from clients and so forth about what their little one is wearing to bed, that we are taught from an early standpoint when we have our little ones that we don't want to overheat. And so there is a huge proportion of parents who are under layering, I think, sort of just
through no
wanting
fault
to
of their
avoid
own.
overheating. Yeah, no, that's right. So we're always just sort of looking at, can we layer our little ones up just a little bit more? One sort of good point to note is if you're using a toll-graded sleeping bag or a toll-graded swaddle and you're unsure just how many layers or what to wear underneath, the manufacturer's guidelines will typically have a suggested layering.
I do find they run cold though.
They run a little bit cold, but it's a good starting point because for some families, they're not layering at all. Sometimes I've got little ones that have just got a singlet and nappy on, and it's like 19 degrees in the room with a 1-tog bag. So we are, because we are just sort of conditioned to not want to overheat, we sort of tend to go the other way. So if you're a little unsure, that is a really good starting point. And then you are always sort of dressing your little one for the coldest part of the night, which is between 3 and 5 a.m. Yep. So checking the temperature at that time.
I also find that a lot of families use a sleeping bag appropriately overnight, and there is always, you and I will go on about 3 or 4 a.m. But day naps, you also need to be warm and snug.
Yes.
I dress babies the same. Not only is the sleeping bag a great cue to your baby that, hey, hang on, it is sleep time, but we need them to be warm enough to link that sleep cycle to fall asleep in the first place. Cozy baby sleep.
Lovely and relaxed.
I also think it's really important that the sleep environment is the same at the beginning as it is at the end of a sleep cycle or the whole night through. So we've talked about this before, but things that play a lullaby or the shushes that only go for 15 minutes that then turn off in a really fragile state part of the sleep cycle, they no longer serving us because a baby will notice and will wake up to say, hey, WTF, what's different here?
Bring the shusher back. Bring that mic back.
Bring the shusher back. Yeah. So the way they go to sleep, we want it to be the way that the environment is still the same, nothing to see here, no light streaming in, no shushes that have turned off. We just want to create this really set and forget perfect sleep environment so that you can resettle or a baby can resettle themselves without thinking, oh my gosh, where am I now? Anything else to add for room
incredibly
environment?
Important.
Dark, warm, same.
Brown noise, white noise.
All the way through.
All the way through.
Yep. Just get one of those machines that start, stop.
Yeah, or Bluetooth some brown noise in.
Yep.
You don't have to complicate it, but yes, I think that it's a buffer. So yeah,
because that ASOS delivery is going to be delivered. It's going to arrive at the front door just as your baby's trying to link a sleep cycle. Yeah.
Hey Sally, I'm back. How you guys going?
Yeah, gosh, hide it from the husband.
Yeah.
Okay, next up, and I think this one is really important and what we aim to do with all of our families, whether we're working with them directly or you're just listening to this or following our content, is confidence and some curiosity. Confidence to know that my baby's not hungry as we go into a resettling session. Confidence that the sleep environment is set up and is conducive for great sleep. Confidence in your baby's age and ability to do the thing. And then we add in some curiosity, popping a baby down to see if they can. You can have a rescue plan. Curiosity about what does that if I do bump up the tog rated sleeping bag from a 1 to a 2.5 at 4 a.m. Oh, could that do it without me having to sleep train it out that waking at 4 a.m.? Confidence and curiosity. That's a big one for me.
Curiosity is such a big one because quite often we're doing lots of things on autopilot and we're not offering an opportunity to back our little ones, you know, and we're sort of like, oh, you know, the way I do things is the way I do things. So we rock for 20 minutes before he goes down. You know, I'm just throwing it out there. He goes down and then, you know, he's going to be awake 20 minutes later and then I'll rock and hold and, you know, we contact nap back to sleep. What if you put baby down, like into the cot awake and you just sort of either stand there and watch or put your hand up? Like, what happens if I do it slightly differently this time around? It's just having that thought process of I can try something and it doesn't necessarily have to work, but what if it does?
What if it does?
What if it does? So, you know, give the listeners more approach a little whirl. Sometimes you're going to be pleasantly surprised with what your little one can do. The key is to back yourself and back your baby.
Yeah.
And I love the idea of the rescue plan. Like, it's fine. Like, it's fine if it doesn't work. Just do your normal thing.
It's just about starting. I got asked a really good question this week, which was, what if it doesn't work for my baby? And my first thought was, but what if it does? But what if it does? Sometimes we just have to start and try, see how it feels, how it looks, how does baby respond, how does it align with what we were hoping this would happen. Just start, take the data, and then move forward. And so what if it does? Let's have some curiosity.
Yep. Especially hard for those who don't like change, which is me. I'm not a big...
Gosh, do not change anything for me, Bec. Don't even suggest it. It has to come from me.
Yeah.
I can make change for everyone else, but no.
I'm sure it drives my husband crazy. But yeah, eventually, and I do try something new and then I'm like, I'll go away and I'll go, it wasn't so bad after all. And then, you know, I do. But, you know,
that's why if it's yourself. Your own idea.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Funny.
All right. And I think 5 of 5 is working to an age-appropriate schedule with appropriate wake windows, with appropriate nap goal totals, that we're not asking for like 4-hour naps here or just these really huge unachievable sleep totals. We want wake windows that aren't so long that a baby is just passing out from exhaustion or is so wired from overtiredness that they are unable to sleep. We pull it back, we get on a schedule, and I think it's also worth adding that those naps don't have to, and particularly if you work with either of us initially, they don't have to be self-settling cot naps that are dreamy and linking sleep cycles on day one. This can be a carrier nap. It can be a contact nap while you're watching Netflix. It can be in the pram whilst you're walking the dog and listening to this podcast. It's about reshaping the day, building up some sleep totals, minimizing some tears with some assistance, and getting to bedtime and overnight, which is something we're always trying to protect, with a well-rested baby.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And you watch those wakings that are from overtiredness disappear. It can be just so as simple as that.
Yep. All right, that's our fast 5. 5 ways to get better sleep without sleep training. I know.
Was that quick? I mean, it's quick for us. We do love a gas bag. So.
I know. We love an anecdote. But I also feel like that's important because we live it, we breathe it, we see it all the time, and everyone is doing an amazing job. And these little things we would be sprinkling into our sleep plans absolutely before we even get to sleep training. It's not just all talk. This is absolutely what we focus on as well as sleep consultants. So Go and have a look at your routine, bedtime routine, nap schedule, where your feeds are placed. Let's anchor them in. No more snacky snacks. And set up the room for great sleep. And then be confident and curious.
And
we'll see you on the next episode of Nap Trapped.
See you later. Bye, team.